But in Islam, they explain Jannah so beautifully. Like, that is just amazing.
My goodness. My goodness. My goodness.
Islamic Jannah. What's going on, everybody? We're back with another one. Got Chris of Dilemma's Corner in here, the Islamic Dilemminator and Giant DOC, and yours truly, the Sheikh Dilemma. Look, guys, so here we got a so-called convert to Islam, or what they say revert. They reverted to Islam because we all were Muslims before. And she gives her 3 reasons on why she converted to Islam and why she's choosing Islam over Christianity. So when somebody gives these type of reasons, you would hope that they've, done their research and they're giving legitimate objections to one side with knowledgeable based opinions, right? And then therefore comparing the two, she made a logical, fair decision that this is what makes sense. This is what I found evidently true. And this is why I'm choosing Islam over Christianity. That's what we would hope to see. Is that right, fellas and lady?
That's right. That's what we would hope to see. But 100% of the time when you watch these videos, it is always a bunch of Dawa script nonsense. Like they'll say, and then I noticed this about Christianity when I was a Christian, and it's just Dawa script. It's nothing anyone would have ever noticed as a Christian because it's fake and it's just Dawa script. But then I found out Islam, and then it's 100% Dawa script nonsense. And that's every video, and that's what Muslims love. And it's like pretty sad.
Eat it up. You can blow up off of that. Let's go ahead and see what she lays out. We're gonna see the evidences that she gives and see why it is that she picked Islam.
Why I reverted to Islam, and I can never give them a solid answer. So I'm gonna give you guys 3 reasons why I reverted to Islam.
She can never give a solid answer why. I think that's interesting. I think that's very interesting. When people ask me why I converted to Islam or reverted to Islam, I can never give a solid answer. Maybe you should reflect on that a little bit. Maybe it's because there are no good solid answers to give. But anyway, she's gonna try. So
that is a tough way to start off your video.
The whole Holy Trinity thing was very complicated, to say the least. Please don't come for me. But to further explain a little bit, how can God be 1 and 3 at the same time? The math ain't mathing.
How can God be 1 and 3 at the same time? The math isn't mathing. And then she goes on to give a definition, I believe, of one God. Let's see.
There's only one God and one God only. Allah is one. Monotheistic, relating to or characterized by the belief that there is only one God. Period.
You see her reading? Now, guys, does that sound like someone who was interested in Christianity and studying Christianity and was confused and then just found out about Islam? Does that sound like someone who was programmed by the Dawa script and had no clue about anything in Christianity or anything in Islam?
Programmed 100%. Yeah.
Bought the Dawa script, held on to the Dawa script, downloaded the Dawa script, and then started spouting the Dawa script.
Every single time.
There are reasons people leave Christianity, and maybe it's suffering, right? Or maybe there are reasons that you can hear people give when they leave Christianity. I've never heard someone say, and maybe this is just me, but I've never heard someone say, hey, Chris, I was sitting there just reflecting on the Trinity one day, and I was like, 1, 3... It doesn't make sense. Like, I've never heard a Christian ever say this because it's not what Christians teach. And yet, funny enough, it happens to align with the Dawa script's misrepresentation of the Trinity, which is really interesting how they just line up like that.
I just want to say, so she says that she left Christianity because of the Trinity, and she joined a religion that doesn't understand the Trinity. So the Quran, over and over and over again, misrepresents the doctrine of the Trinity, defining the Trinity as Allah, Jesus, and Mary. Now, I'm sure with her education of Christianity, whatever it was, that she knows that that's not the Trinity. So imagine this. You leave a religion because of your misunderstanding about God, and then you join a religion that misrepresents that misunderstanding about God, according to her, right?
Just to put it in all, just short, really quick here, the Trinity is the concept that there's one God, one divine essence that consists of 3 distinct persons, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who are co-equal, co-eternal, who have always existed with each other in perfect unity and fellowship from eternity's past, inseparable, indivisible within their essence, while being distinct in their personhood. That's what the Trinity is in a nutshell. And so if you're a Christian, that's what you believe, and you should be able to know that going in if you're going to be looking into Islam and saying that you're choosing Islam over Christianity. And also saying that the Trinity doesn't go with monotheism when that literally is what the Trinity is.
Yeah, and if you're just going to erase categories and say 1 and 3, 3 and 1, how can 1 be 3 and 3 be 1? And you're going to ignore categorical differences that Christians have always made, that the one is the one God, and the three are the three persons. And so to reduce that to just one and just three and act as if those are the same things, and that's what we mean when we say one and three, that's being dishonest. But you could do the same thing with Islam, couldn't you? Couldn't you do the same thing with Islam if you were being uncharitable like she is?
Yeah, we could be like, there's how can Allah be one and 99 at the same time? The 99 attributes or names of Allah, and we can be unfair, uncharitable, and dishonest, and be like, see, you guys believe in 99 gods. How could you?
Yeah, how can Allah be 99 and one at the same time? And it's very interesting because you'll have these 99 names and they correspond to 99 attributes. So what's that mean? If Allah has 99 attributes, then in one sense he's one in being, but he's more than one in attribute. He's 99 in attribute. But it gets crazier because Allah's attributes can actually be in conflict with each other. Allah says that his mercy triumphs over his wrath. So he has one attribute, wrath, that calls for one thing, and he has another attribute, mercy, that calls for a different sort of action, and they're in conflict, and his mercy triumphs over his wrath. That means he's got two different attributes and they're in conflict with each other, and one of them wins over the other. We wouldn't say therefore you believe in multiple gods. So just to be clear, Allah can be one in one way, more than one in another way, but that was her only objection to the Trinity. Well, how can God be one and three? Well, how can Allah be one and 99, or one and, with these different attributes? And again, this is what we're saying. It's standard Dawa script nonsense that, the Trinity was confusing, but in Islam, Allah is so easy to understand. Yeah, until you start getting down to his body parts and his two right arms and his one leg with the 2 feet on the bottom of it and all these different things. And they never tell them that. And they don't even tell them that you have this big dispute in Islam with whether these are actual body parts, physical body parts or not, and that Muslims are hopelessly confused over this sort of thing. But even like the basics you get from the Quran and the Hadith, think about the confusion if you actually applied the same reasoning and said, well, this is really confusing. So if you just take the basics that you have in the Quran and the Hadith, you've got Allah, but Allah speaks out his word. He speaks out his word. He speaks out his word, which is Jesus, and he speaks out his word, which is the Quran. But Muslims believe that this is why they say the Quran is eternal, because they can't believe that Allah changed one day and then he started speaking. So speech has to be one of his attributes. And so Allah's always speaking out the Quran. But the exact same reasoning would apply to Allah's spirit. Allah breathes out his spirit. Now, when Allah creates something, he just says be, and it pops into existence. His word, however, originates from within him. He speaks it out, and his spirit, he breathes out. So these are different kinds of things, and these are eternal. So already you've got Allah, his spirit, and his word. But as we all know, his word actually appears as a man and intercedes for people. So this is and his spirit appears as a man. So you've got Allah eternally breathing out his spirit, who is a personal agent. Allah from all eternity is speaking out his word, who is a personal agent, who appears as a man, who intercedes for people, and so on. So already you have three divine persons from all eternity. But it gets worse, because Allah's speech that appears as a man also appears as individual flocks of birds. The chapters do. So Surah 2 appears as a flock of birds that intercede, and Surah 3 appears as a flock of birds which intercede. If we assume that this is true of all the chapters of the Quran, not only certain ones, then you've got Allah, and his speech appears as a man, his eternal speech from all eternity. It appears as a man, but within that one man are 114 flocks of birds who are also personal agents and who intercede, who think, and so on. So the point is, if you think the Trinity is confusing, what are you doing with this physical Allah with his two right hands and so on, eternally breathing out a person, the spirit, and eternally speaking out a person, his word, and that one person is simultaneously 114 personal agents that appear as flocks of birds to appear and intercede, and they communicate, they remember things, they intercede, and it's amazing, because it's a total parallel to the Alat Alusa Manat, that there were these bird goddesses who would intercede for you, and Muhammad just replaces them with chapters of the Quran that are these bird goddesses that appear, that intercede for you. And it's just like, this is like insanely confusing. And guess what? Do you think this woman has any clue about any of that? When she was doing all her research, do you think she looked into any of that at all before she decided, nope, Islam has got the real simple God here?
Nope, not one shred of research.
Think about what David just said, that Allah's mercy mercy can overcome his wrath. His mercy can overcome his wrath. When the Quran is dealing with Allah not having a son or not existing alongside other gods, in chapter 23, verse 91, it says, "Never did Allah take himself a son, and never was there with him any god. Otherwise, each god would have certainly taken what he has created, and some of them would have certainly overpowered others." So think about this. Allah is refuting this idea that he has a son or he exists alongside other gods, because if a son were to exist, if other gods were to exist, then they would overpower each other. But wait a minute. Allah has that problem because his mercy overcomes his wrath. So he's not getting out of this dilemma that he's putting out. This is another Islamic dilemma.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's so good. Well, that's reason number one, guys. Let's go with reason number two.
Moving on to reason number two is that the Quran has never been altered. In Catholicism, they would tell us that the reason why that the Bible was constantly being altered and changed is because times are changing. Society is changing, which facts. But at the same time, the fact that it is being altered so often and people are putting their little inputs all the time makes it that much more complicated. And it also loses its credibility. It loses its value. You get what I mean? And the Quran, on the other hand, never been changed. The Quran has been the same ever since it was revealed to us. And to me, that's way more valuable and credible.
So
okay, just to clarify, guys. So she's saying the Catholics are talking about how the Bible's constantly being changed and updated, and they say this is just to bring it in line with modern times. You ever heard a Catholic say that about the Bible?
I've never.
Never,
you know what I think that means, though? I think because a lot of people, they do this thing where they think that a translation is the same as a transmission. So they think, oh, there's all these English translations. They must be different Bibles. And then maybe hypothetically, there was some Catholic person that said, that's because these translations, some are more modern in modern English. And she interpreted that to be, oh, this is like because in modern times, we just make lots of Bibles, or some weird understanding.
That is the best explanation for what, put it this way, assuming she's not completely making things up, because my assumption would have been she's just completely making things up and she has no clue. She's just making up the Dawa script. But you're pointing out, that is the only way that she wasn't just making that up. If she was like, what are all these different translations? And people are like, you have to keep translating and stuff. Language changes and so on. And then she thinks that's talking about changing the Bible. But Chris, if all she means is that, as language develops and so on, that people come up with different translations, doesn't that apply to the Quran as well?
Exactly. Yeah, you can Sahih International, Pigfall, Yusuf Ali. What do you want?
The clear Quran. And they even try to make like super easy to understand versions, and they even like give like completely ridiculous translations to try and do away with problems and so on. So following
the clear Quran.
Yeah. So if that's what you mean, lady, then you got the same problem with the Quran. And if you don't think it's a problem with the Quran, you shouldn't have a problem with that being in the Bible. So if she thinks the actual like text of the Hebrew and Greek is constantly being changed and upgraded, that's just nonsense. That's made up. But I have to say, if the Bible is constantly being changed and updated, as the Dawa script would have you believe, then you can't trust the Quran, because the Quran affirms the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of the Torah and the Gospel. So thank you, ma'am, for attacking the Quran for us.
And just one real quick thing. She says the Quran has never been altered. Islam is the only religion, as far as I'm aware, that argues that actually we altered our scriptures the best. We altered the Quran in such a way that it was totally faithful and what Allah would have wanted. I've never heard another religion say that. Christianity doesn't say that. Judaism doesn't say that. But Islam, no, they were the best of alters. Allah is the best of alters in your religion. Uthman was sent and altered your Quran. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm still in that. I'm about to use that in the next stream. That's so good.
I have to wonder, if the Quran has never been changed, how do they have all these different versions of the Quran today, which even contradict each other? I mean, there are contradictions. So were the contradictions originally there, or they just developed later? If they were there always, then the Quran is just inherently contradictory. But if they came about later, then What's she complaining about?
That's a good question. If you guys want to see examples of these different Qurans, myself, Jai, and DLC, we did a video on 5 Quran variances that everybody should know. Pretty easy, contradictory meaning changes. These aren't small little differences. These are 5 Quran variances that are easy to show a Muslim how different the Qurans actually are. So if you guys want to see that link is going to be in the description below. Go ahead and click that and watch that. Take notes on that. All right. So let's move on to point number 3.
And with that, I love that the Quran is so open to interpretation.
She is completely 100% correct. The Quran is open to interpretation. Totally agree. Great point.
The miracle of reinterpretation.
You can literally make it say anything you want. Just go to our Dawah guys. It doesn't matter what you like. They'll say the Quran affirms it. The Quran is like Play-Doh, basically.
All right, point number 3.
Random, but it is a huge reason as to why I actually loved Islam in the beginning when I first started learning about it. And that is Jannah, heaven. Hear me out. When I was Catholic, I would literally lay at night thinking about the fact that if I went to heaven, I would have to live forever. Terrified. Because I feel like they never really explained what heaven was like and how beautiful it would be. But in Islam, they explain Jannah so beautifully and makes you want to go to Jannah. You know what I mean? The fact that we're going to live forever sounds amazing. The fact that the whole reason why we live and come to this dunya is to go to Jannah, and every detail about Jannah. For example, the fact that you could bite an apple and every bite is going to taste different and better every time. Like, that is just amazing. I'm running out of time, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that made sense. I feel like I was all over the place. But you could...
My goodness.
Islamic Jannah.
Yeah. Let's just clarify, because guys, did she somehow miss all of the relevant things according to Islam about the afterlife for women?
Yes, she missed everything. Every relevant thing when it came to the women. We know where the women are going to be in the afterlife.
Yeah. Let me go and quote a couple passages here. First of all, according to Muhammad, most of the inhabitants of hell are women. I'll read Bukhari right here. Muhammad said, "O women, give to charity, for I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were women." The women asked, O Allah's apostle, what's the reason for it? He said, "O women, you curse frequently and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. O women, some of you can lead a cautious man astray." So I don't know why this woman thinks that she's bound to get into paradise if she's a Muslim. I mean, even Muhammad said he didn't know what Allah is going to do with him. That same prophet said most of the inhabitants of hell are women because they're foolish and bad at religion and ungrateful to their husbands and so on. But on the assumption that she actually makes it, is it going to be this, oh, it's going to be so awesome, it's going to be so great? What actually happens, whoever your husband is, she'll have her husband, and he'll have either, I guess if she's lucky, he'll just have one wife, but he can have multiple wives and so on. In paradise, he will have all his wives from earth, but he will also have a bunch of additional specially designed sex machines called houris that she'll be competing with for all eternity for her husband's attention. So, I mean, just imagine she has like this dream husband. She's like, he's the greatest man ever. Well, yeah. He's going to have you, all his other wives, and a bunch of houris, and you're going to be, what are you going to be doing? I'll go ahead and read it from you. This is Bukhari. For some reason, I'm guessing she missed this somehow. Allah's apostle said, "In paradise, there is a pavilion made of a single hollow pearl, 60 miles wide, in each corner of which there are wives who will not see those in the other corners, and the believers will visit and enjoy them." Lady, you're going to be standing in a corner for all eternity, and you're not allowed to see or talk to women in the other corners, and you just stand there waiting for your husband to come up and say, "All right, I'm ready for sex." Problem is, your husband also has these specially designed virgins that he spends eternity deflowering, and after he deflowers one of these virgins, Allah miraculously restores her virginity overnight so that she's a virgin again the next day. And so you'll be standing in a corner for all eternity waiting for your husband to pick you, and you'll be sitting there going, "Pick me, pick me, pick me." Yeah, that should make you want to convert.
And just keep in mind, by the way, she said that she was terrified, that was the word she used, terrified of what Roman Catholics believe about heaven. Which, if you think about it, I don't know, like, why is she thinking that like, if you're a Roman Catholic and you go to heaven, it's like, you know, like some terrifying terrifying like scene of darkness and like thunder.
You're burning. You're burning in the Roman. Those darn
oh.
Catholics.
Yeah,
with their heaven-
what did she say about Christianity or Islam that is within a trillion miles of being correct?
Nothing, man.
Either she's incredibly ignorant or this is just straight out of the Dawa script. And given that she knows nothing about what Islam teaches for women, I'm thinking this is a Dawa script. But you know what? They did tell her about the amazing power of apples and how delicious they are, you know?
But remember, guys, this is what I was saying earlier, that her not knowing about the Trinity or the persons in the Trinity, going to the Quran and, you know, oh yeah, it's you know, Allah, Jesus and Mary, her not knowing that, she doesn't even know what heaven is in Christianity. She thinks it's some terrifying place that used to keep her up at night. Like, stop it, cut it out. But this is what I'm saying, that she didn't even know what the Christian heaven is like. How in the world is she gonna have any idea about the Trinity, anything about the Trinity, the persons, the nature of God, anything like that? Nothing.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is it would be one thing if this wasn't standard, if this were like the exception, but it's always the case. It's, hey, I didn't know anything about Christianity. I didn't know about God in Christianity. I didn't know anything about the Bible. I thought the translations, meanings that they're updating the Bible constantly and so on, and I don't know how translations work in Islam. I know nothing about God in Christianity. I know nothing about the Bible. I know nothing about God in Islam. I know nothing about the Quran. And a Dawa guy came along, took advantage of me, said a bunch of stuff, and I was too completely ignorant of everything to know any better. And now they're using me to recruit more young women and tell them how great Islam is. Why? Because as Muhammad Hijab said, the revert women take it best. They want the revert women. They want women who are completely ignorant so they can program them to do whatever they want.
With that being said, guys, just want to leave this off with an encouraging note. If you ever see this video, or to any of you guys who are thinking of becoming Muslim, please watch this video and make sure that you actually look into the claims of Islam, look into the claims of Christianity, and check yourself. Do some self-reflection before you start claiming that you left Christianity when you never really was a Christian. Like, look into it. Look into what does it teach about the Trinity? What really is it? What is the Bible? What are the facts about the Bible? How did it come about? What is the heaven that's described in the Bible? Just read Revelation 21, 22, Revelation 7. Just open up the Bible and just read it for once. And I hope that this has encouraged you not to sit in your ignorance and then make a video exposing it.
If you read what the Bible says about heaven, you will not be impressed by an apple.
Just really quick, where will the women be according to Muhammad in Islam?
They will be in tents in paradise, waiting for the men to come and you know what.
I got it. So you'll be in. So either they got two things. They're either going to be in hell, which is the majority of them, like Muhammad says, or they're gonna, if they make it to paradise, they're going to be a pick-me. They're going to be an object of sexual pleasure. Welcome to Islam, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you comment down below. And